I got rid of the mirror setup. Number one, I did not like the way I had to keep it in that box because it was the PTZ camera and it turns around with movement. They aren't going to come anywhere near it if the lens is facing their direction. How in the world they know that, I don't know. But from everything I've seen, they don't like it. So I got the older one, put it up, made this mount, and it's facing towards the house. So all I'm wanting them to do is interact, at least behind it. Now, this isn't necessarily to get video. I don't think that's going to happen. I think really the only chance I have of doing that is going to be in person. That's from what I've seen over the years. But this is set up specifically to be able, hopefully, to get interaction, number one. And number two, it will at least pick up sound. And now it's not going to pick up really good because these cameras are cheap. But I'll get a time notification for those sounds. So then I can go back and I've got my audio recorder under my little, it's like an umbrella stand I made for it to keep it out of the weather. So hopefully that'll capture something. And then I can go back, check the time on the audio recorder, and then have good audio. I'm doing a little walk around the perimeter here. I've mentioned in the past that I had heard that they like blue objects for whatever reason. They like the color blue. And I never figured there was any way that you could tell that. But what I have noticed is back here in this area, back behind my property, it doesn't matter how many times I can clean up back here, there is going to wind up being random objects back here. And a lot of them are blue. I've found like blue oil filters from super old cars. Not like buried under pine straw, but sitting out in front of God and everyone. Old blue glass. All kinds of different blue objects back here. And here's another one. I don't even know what the hell this thing is. You know, you got raccoons and possums and everything else. You never know. I don't know every piece of trash that goes in the garbage can or whatever, but I have no idea what that thing is. And, you know, normally I just say, all right, well, that's just random trash. It showed up. No big deal. But number one, it's blue. And then we got this right here. Definitely could have just fallen out of a tree. It happens all the time. But I figured I'd document it because you got a blue thing and then you got that sticking there. So these are super common around here. It used to be they would do it just about every time I had some very close activity. They would shove a stick into the ground or lean one up against a tree. And the cool thing about the ones leaned up against the tree is that you find a random stick or something like leaned up against a tree, it's no big deal. Maybe it fell out of that specific tree, right? Well, I have found ones that they weren't trees, they were small. I mean, they weren't limbs, they were small trees that I had actually cut myself like 2 years before and drug out in the woods. And you have something happen, and then the next day you come out and it's leaning up against a tree. So it is something I think they do. There's no way to tell if that. I've only got one incident from a couple of years ago where I 100%, there's no way you're going to talk me out of it, that they left a stick right after interactions. It's an older video, but they were actually like crushing a can and making slapping noises. And I went out there with a flashlight and found a stick sticking in the ground and another one pointing right to where I was at. So there's no way around that one. That was super obvious. But other times it's not that obvious. Now this could have fallen out of a tree. I'm not saying it couldn't have, but along with this thing, you know, still could be random, but document.